Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. DeBroy, I wanted to kind of go in a different direction. I think it's clear that employers, and it's good to see that employers are rethinking the way they hire people and that they're rethinking the value of college degrees. My question is there any research done to evaluate the impact, the economic impact on individuals when states pass occupational licensing laws that then require a college degree? You know, for example, in Missouri, we had to fight for years to get African hair braiding separated from the cosmetology license. Ironically, the students were being forced to pay a lot of money and go to school for 18 months or more to get a degree that didn't even teach them how to braid hair. And yet the state was requiring that. And there are numerous examples across the country. So I'll stop ranting and just kind of ask that question. What is the impact of all these occupational licensing laws that require some education that may not be important?
Thank you so much for the question. On the occupational licensing landscape, that is outside the domain of my expertise. I will say, though, that there are a range of different credentials in the United States. There's more than 1 million of them, in fact, and the impact that they have in signaling to employers that a worker has skills varies so much. And so I think one of the important pieces of the conversation that is getting picked up right now is how do we actually measure skill as opposed to a credential? And a lot of the conversation today, I would say, is focused on how do we think about the skills of an individual and matching the skills of an individual to the skills required of the job.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for answering that. We have, as the policy of the United States, of the federal government and at the state level, is to subsidize universities, which I think has created the dynamic that we have today, where we have too few people that have in the trades and skills based, and we have a lot of people with philosophy degrees, myself included, right? But we got to this point because we funded it, we subsidized the universities, and then we do it directly, and then we fund the scholarships, and we fund the grants and the loans and everything like that, right? And then we create laws that say, if you want to be, an interior designer and pick the color of the paint on the wall, you better go to college. Well, at the end of the day, it causes economic harm to consumers, because now I got to pay just for somebody to help me pick color palettes. I got to pay for their college degree. So I think things are moving in an interesting direction. Coming from the IT sector, there was a lot of value that companies like Cerner, Oracle that I worked for, that they saw in paying for on-demand training, online training. Things like Pluralsight became available. Tools like LinkedIn Learning was an option as an employee. And it opens up employees to a vast opportunity to not only learn how to do their job, but learn how to do the job they want to transition to. And with that in mind, I want to ask the question, Dr. Kimbrough, should we really rethink where we're sending money? Should we rethink that perhaps maybe we could grant tax incentives for individuals that want to pay for online learning tools that may not be at a university level?
Yeah, thank you, Congressman Burlison. I would say, first off, what we see in our own data is that more and more workers are embracing the idea of investing in themselves and learning, whether it's in an online format or they're looking for opportunities to consume and information, educate themselves, and skill themselves in any form they can. I would actually say that I think it's beyond the scope of my expertise to say what Congress should determine it should fund, but we definitely would support the idea of broadening the pathways. So you have a plurality of pathways for access and not creating barriers. As an economist, I would tell you it's incredibly inefficient to have barriers
Right.
to unnecessary barriers.
So, for example, are education savings accounts, are they eligible to spend money on some of these trainings?
I do not know that. I would have to get back to you.
Okay. Thank you. My time has expired. Thank you.